Okay, here we are in English tonight because Philip is not English, but we speak
I
English.
cannot speak Italian,
You
unfortunately.
cannot speak Italian or French or Spanish, but you can speak English.
True.
And I can't speak your German or
No.
I don't. So we will speak in English. I apologize for it, but we will try to do. Thank you for coming here. And I begin with the first question I do at everyone is that what made you say yes to this interview?
Mm. Thank you, first of all, for having me and for doing these interviews. Very nice to be here with you, Karin. What made me say yes to this interview is that I read your invitation, and yeah, I'm usually I try to say yes to opportunities that pop up in my life. Also, something like this is always also a little bit stepping out of the comfort zone, no? So it's a good
Yes.
practice, I think. And also, because I value you as a person, and just
Thank you.
your being, your perspective. So I'm happy also that we can have a conversation like this and also share it with the world.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to inspire the people to do what they want, what they
Mm,
love, what they are. And
beautiful.
so for me, you're one of the person that inspire me. So it's really good for me to have this opportunity.
Mm.
And so what do you do in the present moment? What's your job or what's your mission or what you want to explain?
Hmm. Thank you. So at the moment, I am working as a mentor and coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I now am more and more changing towards working more and more specifically with men in particular.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I also have been over the last 1.5 years, for about a year or so, I have ran a men's circle as well locally here where I live in Portugal, which is a format for men to come together and sit in a circle, usually
Oh,
of
we have to do something.
around the fire. Yeah, that I know
I
you
think.
are
Yeah.
doing with women,
Okay.
no? Which is the
Yes. Yes.
pendant to the women's work, and red tent work is for the
Mm-hmm.
men. And I think this is a little bit younger in the sense that maybe it's only more and more men are starting to, I would say, open up to this kind of
Yes.
work. But at the same time, also I do notice that it is very beautiful work, very important work, especially a lot of men really in their day-to-day life have nowhere to turn to really open up, speak about emotions, speak about fears and doubts, and like all of the stuff that usually they have the feeling that has no space, or they are
Of
not
course.
allowed to also be with those aspects of themselves. And also it's usually really beautiful to create that safe space. And I think some of the biggest medicine for the men in these circles is also to hear other men
Mm.
share where they are and what they're experiencing. And often we realize, wow, we're going through such similar challenges and
Yes.
struggles sometimes. And only that sometimes is already really, really relieving and healing. Yes. And
Yeah.
also, next to the mentoring and coaching work, I am a musician, and I am a singer songwriter. I play guitar and sing, write my own songs. I've now just recently started again to prepare a little bit of a relaunch of my music project, which I'm going into the studio now and
Oh,
to
good.
record some songs. So that will come probably later this year. Yes.
Okay. So because I knew you that more than musician when I meet you in Milan, I remember, but
Mhm.
also I know that you worked in yourself, and you wanted to go something for coaching. I
Mhm.
remember that. Okay, so both are in your life, and what you love, because the question is what you are, what you love, what you do,
Mm.
what you love, and in what you are doing, and also in other things now.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a very good question, no, because I think that often maybe I think often we humans think that we know what we love,
Hmm.
but then usually I think there's many deeper layers to it. So I try to ask myself this question, and actually what I'm finding, like what is I think the latest version of the answer to this question for me, because probably it's still gonna evolve and gonna update, but I think the current version, if I'm really
Hmm.
asking myself
Hmm.
what do I love, is that I would say that I love flow. And that means also that I'm trying more and more to, let's say, optimize my
Hmm.
life and what I do
Hmm.
and how I do it and the experience that I'm having while I'm doing it for flow, which
Flow.
also, yeah, then
The
also is like,
sensation you feel when you are when you flow.
yes, which means also where I am kind of losing myself in, where I'm losing track of time, for example, where I just, it can be a conversation, but it can also be, for example, sports, or, yeah,
Hmm.
it can be different activities. Even like editing a video, for example, can be a flow state. And now I think it's an important question to ask, because then also it's easier to start to change different areas of my life towards, okay,
Hmm.
where can I have more flow in all of those areas? That makes sense.
Okay. And what do you feel is your talent, if you, or yours talents?
Mm. I think my talent is, it's a good question. I think I do have a talent for music, just because I grew up with it, and I kind of realized that there is some, yeah, just some skills and talents there that have come from a very early age of being exposed to music. And another talent, I think, is to really connect with people and try to go deeper than often
Mm.
we usually do. So, like, I think it takes a certain courage to really connect with humans, like to go beyond the how are you and what did you do today and like what are you doing tomorrow, to go deeper and to also be really like, hey, what's really happening for you at the moment, what are you feeling, what's, yeah, what are you also challenged by, like all of these things. I really like to go there with
Hmm.
people, and also with myself, but also with my friends. I try to have those relationships be
Connection.
deeper.
Mm.
Yes, deep connections.
Yeah. And you are living, you live of that, of music, and and this connection with human people, no? No. Today, in this moment of your life, it's your,
Y-
I
yes.
don't know
This,
how to say, because it's not a job when we do what we we are and what we love,
yeah,
but
I would say a profession, or
profession. Yes, I like
yes,
that.
exactly. Yes, at the
Okay.
moment, these two are my main professions. Yes.
Okay. And um, did you imagine yourself like that when you were a child? When you was as
So
a child?
probably I did not imagine myself exactly in the way that I'm living now at the moment, because I think at the time I didn't have an understanding of, let's say, personal development or self development.
Yes.
But what I can say, I sometimes do think back, and I do see that a certain let's say, seed has always been there already, even for me as a child, because I was always, I would say, curious. I was always, in a way, skeptical. Like, for example, I remember this. I remember this moment. I must have been. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was primary school, so I must have been maybe 9 or 10, and we were all asked in the school to hold a presentation around any topic. And I remember that I asked my mother to buy me a book around crop circles.
I don't know what it meant.
So it's in a field, for example, where there is corn.
Ah, yes, yes.
Sometimes there are
Okay.
these
Yeah.
formations, no, symbols, and like kind of
Yes, yes.
weird phenomena, no, freak
Yeah.
phenomena. And I was super interested in that. So I told my mom, like, I want to do a presentation around crop circles, and she bought this book for me. Thankfully, we found this book, and I did the presentation on crop circles at that age. So I think, yeah, a certain seed just of like being maybe a little bit different was always there, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what do you consider to be success?
Good question. Also, not an easy question. Um, I definitely think that, yeah, success, everybody has to choose for themselves, right? For me, in this world that we're living in at the moment, I do feel that, for me personally, one of
Of
my
course.
most important values, I think, is freedom. And I do feel that sometimes we live in a reality that also makes it quite challenging to be free. And then also, of course, we could go into what does freedom
Yes.
even mean. There is like outer freedom, there is inner freedom, right? But to me, a life of freedom, which means that, we get mostly to choose how we want to design our life, how we want to live our life, structure our life. For me, that is a big part of what I would call success. And then maybe to touch on that a little bit as well. I mean, we all know stories, and maybe even, we know people, but like, we all know that even with external freedom, if that is money and success, which I think, for example, I think that money is a super important thing for us to take care of that and to also value that in our life. But then we also know that if people on the inside are, yeah, basically just not feeling good, not feeling free inside, not feeling whole inside, then we can have everything that we dream of on the outside, and still I would not consider that a success. So it has
Okay.
to be a balance between, yeah, success in the external and the internal.
Yes. To have enough to have enough inside and outside to feel you free.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly.
And um, now you feel, you think, you live the life that permit you to feel you successful.
I
Your profession, you feel that everything you do is with, because I do this thing to inspire people to do what they want,
hmm
and to show that it's possible at different levels,
hmm
so
hmm
your experience now, you feel that, and you think it's like that for you. And after, I will have another question.
Nice, nice. So in general, yes, I do feel that I feel successful, not in a way that I would say I've reached every goal and like everything is perfect all the time. Definitely that is not the case. And I think I don't know whether that will ever be the case in this life. Um, but I have to say, like, I'm proud of the path that I am walking, and also of what I have already been able to create and build in the last couple of years, since since I'm walking this path that is a little bit just out of the norm, I would say. And it is always, and I think also it's good that way, that for me it's always a mix of, definitely there is still a lot of, I would say, hunger for more, for having more skills, for earning more money, for having more impact, also positive impact on the world. That is definitely there. And also at the same time, yeah, it's super important to celebrate everything that is already working. Now, there is this saying, I think we sometimes all see this on Instagram in a quote, in a way of like, 3 years ago, or whatever, 1 years ago, you dreamed of the life that you're living today, right?
Yes.
And still what we want and what our dream is also moved on, no?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm definitely sometimes challenged also by just by having that gratitude, and just by looking
Mm-hmm.
back, and also like patting myself on the shoulder and saying, hey, you've done amazing. You've had a, you walk in a beautiful path. Because of course there is this part that's like, yeah, but like, let's go more and bigger and more.
And more and more. Yes. Yes.
So
Without appreciate really what is now.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
And in this way, I imagine you dreamed a lot, and you did a lot of things to you moved a lot of things in your life to arrive where you are. And I would like to know what obstacles you encountered, the more significant you
Mm,
can tell us, and how did you get out of
mm-hmm,
this obstacle?
mm-hmm. Good question. Yes. So there definitely were a lot of obstacles, and still are. No, it's part of the life. But let me feel into what is the most significant. I mean, one definitely very big one is just self-doubt. It's just doubting, like, who am I to do anything? Like, who am I to speak about a certain topic? Or who am I to go and say, like, I'm supporting other people in their evolution? Or who am I to put out the piece of art or something like this? And just this voice that probably we all have our own little versions of that, just saying, like, who do you think you are, not to do anything? Like, um, and that is, yeah, sometimes that voice can be super loud and can, yeah, I think we all know, and I definitely have had moments where I'm just like, yeah, thinking about giving up, thinking about just letting it all go, and just being like, well, no, let me just go back to safety, and let me just go back to,
To do something only for simple things, when you're tired about
something
doing.
that is, yeah, just feels more maybe safe or secure. Because
Yes.
I mean, of course, like, like you and me do, just speaking about things, putting our message out into the world, we're also making ourselves vulnerable, and also we're taking up space. So it is definitely a stretch, I would say. So self-doubt definitely is one. And then also, I would say, for me, and that is now more and more, I feel like I'm integrating that and I'm changing that. But what has also been a challenge for me was discipline, in a way that, like, as soon as I'm not working for a boss anymore, I have to make sure that I do the things that I need to do myself. Nobody's gonna come and tell me to do it. You have to do this and this until then and then. So just having the discipline of really also being honest with myself, of just saying, like, okay, these are the things I will need to do, for all of this to work and to grow. So now, with discipline and structure, I feel quite good. But over the time, it has been a challenge, because I think, especially in the beginning when I stepped out, for example, of my last job, it's just, oh wow, certainly there's a lot more freedom.
Yes.
Also soon enough we realize, ooh, okay, like freedom in that sense, and like no structure, it's also nice, especially for a while, but after a while you're like, ooh, certain structure actually makes a lot of sense. So
Yes, yes, of course.
yeah.
Discipline is it's one of the thing you have to discover
Hmm.
what is your discipline
Hmm.
to go where you want to go. And
Yes.
how did you get out about these two
Yes.
things?
So about the self-doubt, I would say, I mean, it's really a practice of just continuing this path of like, okay, I hear that voice, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's there, and it kind of wants me to just become small again. But I try to stay here. I try to still show up. I try to still kind of like remember, okay, why am I doing this? Why is this important
Mm-hmm.
to me? And it's really a practice, like a muscle over time, because also the self-doubt is, I don't want to speak about it in a way that it's something bad, but I think self-doubt is only one voice inside of us that also actually wants to protect us. It just wants
Yes.
to stay safe, right?
And smaller than
And
you.
smaller.
Yes.
And
Yes.
becoming bigger is dangerous in a way. No, I
Yes.
mean, not
Yes.
really, but for the very old part of our brain, it's
Yes.
dangerous. Yeah.
Of
And
course.
so I think it's important to just remember that it's really a practice. We have to strengthen it like a muscle. Like if we go to the gym, just show up, show up, show up. Like keep doing it, and then because at a certain point, this part also, this afraid part of us learns. Okay, now we've done it. I don't know, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, and we're still alive. We still didn't die, you know. So maybe I can like turn that voice down a little bit,
Yes.
and
And believe less
start
in, yes.
exactly. And
And
the
the other one?
discipline, I would say, for me, the discipline works more in the way that I have to stay really connected to my vision of like, how do I want my life to become? Where do I want to go? Because then it helps me to kind of have that North Star to keep, okay,
Yes.
yeah, this is where I want my life to evolve. And then it's easier to come back and really kind of like go backwards and be like, okay, so what does that mean? What are my short term like goals or projects that I'm working on? And then like I can make it more tangible in a way. And yeah, also surrounding myself with other people that are kind of their own, that do their own projects, but that are also disciplined. Just makes it easier because then it becomes normalized in a way. It's like, ah, yeah, this is what we do. Like we run our own project, but also we're disciplined around it. So I think for me that really helped as well.
Okay. And the last one, because I know that you don't have long,
It's
more
flew by
time.
this time. Yeah.
And what advice would you would like to give to someone that want to start to realizing himself?
Mm.
In
I
I don't know, because I ask it at coach, artists, and people really different,
think.
so
Hmm. Hmm.
for everyone.
Yeah. Also, no matter what people want to do, the essence of
Mm,
it is always similar. So I think for me, my advice would be two things. One is, and it's kind of a little bit of what I already spoke about. One is really connect with the vision, and really
yes.
also don't be afraid to go long term, maybe like what's in 5 years, because then we can, like, it's not so pressing. And then try to kind of work back, and then comes to the second piece of advice is like start to run experiments. I always like to see myself like I put on a white scientist coat, and, and be like, I'm a scientist, so let me run an experiment because I want to do this. And then maybe a part of me tells me, oh, if you start doing that, then this and this and this will happen, all these bad things or whatever. And then be like, okay, let's run an experiment. It's okay if the experiment fails, because then it's
Yes.
only data, because we're only doing an experiment, right? And that way it maybe takes off a little bit of this pressure of like, oh, what's going to happen, and am I
Yes.
gonna fail or something like this. So I like this mindset too.
Yes, I like it.
Mm.
Really masculine. I like your vision, your vision more rational. We can
Yes.
say like that. I
Uh-huh.
like the experiment because it's not with pressure that I have to do it everything right now, and no, I can look. I can
Exactly.
try. It's
I can
more,
try something, I can interact, and then I see what happens. And then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So
yes,
maybe after this I learn, and then maybe I run another experiment.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Good thing. Thank you, Philip. You want to say something more? Or?
Thank you so much. I really
Okay.
enjoy this format. I think it's amazing that you're doing this. And yeah, thank you so much. It was amazing to speak to you.
Thank you. And we have to talk about doing something with women and men. I think it
Yes,
will be good.
we can
The
do
other day,
something
I said
specific
to
around this.
the red tent that we have to do once red tent with the circle of men
Mm,
outside,
wow.
of the. And now I have it. The
Something like
universe
this would be
help
powerful.
me.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So I will phone you after.
exactly. We speak about
We
this.
call you and we talk about.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much,
Karin.
Philippe.
Have a beautiful evening. Thank you,
You
guys.
too. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.